It's time for the birth of the new golden era. Welcome to Shattering the Matrix. Your host, Ari Kopel, brings you information that will shatter the matrix and shine light on the conditions and forces that are keeping the planet in third-dimensional density and inspire solutions and positive outcomes. Humanity needs to step up and desire to be freed from the darkness of this prison. No one, no thing outside of ourselves will do this for us. Ari Kopel helps us step into our power and authority that will shatter this prison. Now, be prepared to open up your consciousness, become aware, and emerge victorious by standing in our divine power and divine authority in unison, co-creating a new earth. Now, here's your host of Shattering the Matrix, Ari Kopel.
Hi, this is Ari Kopel with Shattering the Matrix. Would like to give you some insight as to my thoughts and just observations as I've been processing a lot of stuff that's out there that's pretty much coming from everywhere right now. And so I just wanted to get my thoughts together and express where I'm at with a lot of this information / disinformation because it's taking a toll on a lot of people and actually wearing me down as well. So I wanted to express that. But one thing I wanted to make perfectly clear is that my mission, the way that I see it for myself, and I can only speak for myself, is that I'm here to try to bring out the truth based on, again, my observations. The truth as I see it, of course. Not everyone sees it the same way, obviously, and which is one of the reasons, of course, that I point out is that because we are all so different in the way we perceive things, therefore we take actions differently, and based on that, the outcome is very clear in that, right now things are escalating and progressing in a way that is not exactly positive because we do see that, in the form that we see it is that humanity is experiencing just calamities and still atrocities, and yes, we do see some glimpses of hope, for example, like Egypt, what happened in Egypt, the uprising in Egypt. But then again, we question then, what's really behind that, because many times when, unfortunately, we see something positive, there's something underlying that is fueling that for another agenda. So, my point is that, I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I'm not running for office either. I'm not trying to get the most likes on Facebook. I'm just trying to be another voice so that it balances out with all the hoopla of the so positive, wonderful world that's supposed to be happening, the ascension right around the corner, the being picked up by aliens and brought to different beautiful planets that are like nirvana. I'm trying to bring some sense and some balance to the equation because by being so optimistic and positive, which is a good thing if it's balanced, you've got to have a good positive drive to get you from point A to point B, but to not see that the road is bumpy on the way there so that you can be well equipped to travel it is not a wise thing to do. And so I'm trying to be the one that points out that bumpiness on the road so that we can have the right wheels, the right tires, the right air pressure on the tires, and the equipment in case a tire blows out. That's who I am. And, some people don't like that. And you know what? Too bad. Change the channel. All right? And maintain yourself with the belief system that when you cross that bumpy road, your cart will not topple over, hopefully, and that you won't get a flat and be stuck in a place probably longer than you need to be. So, I will tell you things as it is, whether it's pretty or pretty gross. And that's the way it is because, you know what, life is that way. And they don't necessarily always hand us a very nice card. Then we have to be able to deal with the not very nice card. So I have a question, which is based on a saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there, does it still make a sound? And so I'm addressing those people that think it doesn't, because a lot of people think that they have to perceive it in order for it to be real because we bring it into our consciousness. Therefore, if we're not paying attention to it, therefore it didn't happen because we didn't create it in our reality. So if a tree falls in the forest and, if nobody's there to perceive it, then, of course, it didn't make a sound because nobody perceived it. Of course, there's nothing else that's in existence other than humanity, which is the only thing that counts because there are no animals and no other sentient beings or other ultra beings that are there to perceive it. But we are full of disinformation, and it's everywhere. It's coming from all different sources, whether it's the alternative media to experts, in various fields. Many of them are in alternative media, and they're just experts. They're labeled experts. They're talking heads with, of course, opinions and facts based. A lot of it based on skew data, but it's coming from everywhere, and it's so much of it. It's actually diarrhea. Excuse me for saying so, but it's diarrhea of disinformation. The one will speak very, very, eloquently and with so much authority about this point of view, and then you do something else, you turn on another channel or you read another blog, and here's another expert speaking about the same topic with the same type of authority, but it's, contradicting the other one. So we really don't know what is right and wrong, what is the truth or not the truth. And it gets you, chasing your own tail. It's basically taking us for a ride. But it was said back, if you want to believe biblical scripture, for example, Matthew 24:24 speaks about the false messiahs and false prophets that will be appearing during these times, performing great signs and wonders and deceiving even the elect, if we choose to be deemed as the elect. So we're being taken for a ride from people that we are giving our power to, people that we're deeming that know more than us, for whatever reason, that we have, that we think that we don't have the capabilities of obtaining that information on our own, because we are not worthy of connecting directly to that source where they're claiming they're getting all that power from. We don't have that ability, so therefore we're having to depend on them like we need training wheels. it's it's almost like we're living back in the medieval times. I hoped that by the time that we got to this point in humanity's history, that humanity would be strong enough spiritually to discern falsities and to be able to, exercise their spiritual muscles to basically connect directly to the Creator, to their basically the prime creator, not any demiurge or anything like that. So, we're getting information that explains a lot of the stuff that's going on in the planet with a lot of false hope. There's people that we're calling, gurus, or that's the dude that's got all the info, and look at that, he's saying or she's saying that any minute now we're going to be rescued, or any minute now everything's going to turn around, any minute now there's going to be mass arrests. And this has been going on forever and ever and ever. And then a lot of them have gotten clever enough to even not put dates to it anymore, because, the ones that did put dates to it, look like an ass. I mean, they totally act like total asses. Because the time frame came and went and nothing happened. And so now they're getting clever and they're not putting time frames or dates along with this stuff. But reality, reality is that, the information coming from the planet, all around the planet, and a lot of it we can just call it, let's say, the United States of America, because a lot of the things that go around the planet, somehow the United States of America have something to do with it. But it's pretty grim, and when you look at it, and if you all put it down on a list, honey, I think I read it somewhere, somebody put it down on a list, all the things that have gone wrong. I mean, and this is like recently. I mean, like recently, within the past 10, maybe 15 years. I mean, the escalation of just things that are just bad, with respect to possible, with the freedoms of the citizens of this country, with the aiding and abetting, other countries for them to commit atrocities against their own citizens. The things that are coming up with respect to things that are happening below ground, in these military bases. That the working with negative aliens, the atrocities that are happening down there with people that have been abducted, the experiments that are going on, the creation of what is called super soldiers, and how all of a sudden this awareness has come into into the web scenario, through different YouTube channels, different blogging situations. All of a sudden, and it's bombarding us. Every day it's a new interview with somebody who is a super soldier, another one who is a Milab victim, and the things that we're hearing are so horrific that it puts us in a situation of total fear, you're thinking, my goodness, can this get any worse? And then it does, and so it's creating this sense of dread and almost like a giving up, feeling and attitude for a lot of people. And I can't help to think, of course, and I'm sure many of you have already, you can't help to think that is this done on purpose to get us to that point, to break us down spiritually, to break us down and reduce the whatever strength we had, whether it was spiritual strength or physical strength, because honestly when my spiritual strength starts going, my physical strength starts going as well, and then I start experiencing all kinds of other symptoms. So I'm asking all of you to be vigilant of that. And be vigilant also of the attacks by those forces that are actually controlling those that are disseminating all this information on purpose. Because there is a plan, there is an agenda. Some folks say these things don't have an agenda, and I beg to differ. I do believe there is an agenda. They're not mindless. They're not just here to create a wasteland. They're not just here just to have us do their dirty work. Yes, they do. They do have us do their dirty work, but in reality, I do believe there is an agenda. It's too intelligent and too sophisticated for it not to have an agenda, and they're very clever as you know how they do that. And you know, the last thing they want is for people to be addressing these issues, to be helping others decipher what this looks like and what these things are up to. It's obviously not in their best interest, so they're going to do everything possible to prevent that from happening. And of course, one of those things is attacking those that are bringing this information forth. And I could tell you that I personally, have experienced more than ever now because I am putting myself out on the line for this. I'm experiencing a lot of psychic attack from people, from actual people. Number one. Then verbal attack from actual people, and then the negative entities that are actually attaching themselves via my solar plexus, giving feelings and even thoughts that are not my own. But I'm vigilant enough to identify it, and even when I identify it and ask it to go away, it doesn't go away. So I have to become very, very stern and very adamant, and then when that still doesn't work, then I have to call in the big boys, which of course is always my favorite is always Michael, and Michael and the legions of angels. They're the only ones that are able to actually remove these from me personally. Again, one of the reasons I'm going solo today is because my co-host, is not feeling well, and one of the symptoms given by her is exactly what I have been experiencing, except that I'm very resilient and I just don't give up. I have been through too much in my life, not that many other people haven't, but I am one of those that will get knocked off the horse 100 million times, and until my last breath, I'm still climbing that horse and riding it. So I knew that there was a show to be, given today, and the message is that we need to be very, very vigilant of what these symptoms look like, because they will attack you in that emotional body area, specifically the solar plexus area, where you think you have a terrible, nausea, or you'll have heartburn, or you'll have this deep, deep sense of sorrow, a sense of dread, a sense of fear. You start, along with that, you get the depression, and along with that, you start getting thoughts that are not your own, and they're usually a very self-defeating type of thoughts. And it's mostly about self-esteem and self-doubt, and on, self-worth. And so they get you that way. What's the use? Let's just, forget about this whole thing, and let me just live my life, and, the heck with it, and, so it becomes self-serving. So I'm just giving you little insights as to what that feels like, at least from my perspective, and so that if you are feeling any of that, maybe it's time to, call it for what it is. Letting whatever it is that is attacking you or attaching itself to you, letting them know that they are not, these things that you're experiencing are not of you. And you need to be very, very strong, and you need to command them to go away. And if you have to use very colorful language to do so, then feel free to do so. There is no right or wrong about it. And if you feel that that's still not working, then call on your higher guides, call on your angels and archangels. I personally, again, it's because of the information on top of disinformation and whatever that is being spread out there, that angels and archangels are negative beings or fallen beings. There are angels or archangels that are fallen, and those are not the names given to them. So the ones I call angels and archangels are the ones that I personally have worked with, that I personally know, that I've had one-on-one audiences with, that are always there every time I beckon them, every time I ask for their help, and even when I don't ask for their help because I don't even know that I need the help, they're there anyway. So those are the ones that I address and the ones that come immediately to my aid. So whatever it is that will help you, relieve the situation and bring you back to your whole being without being compromised by these outward negative forces that are trying to bring you down. Whatever that is, then do so. Do that. And if saging works for you, then do that. If putting, sea salt works for you, then do that. And if a combination of all of it works for you, then do that. I also wanted to address today the situation with women. A lot of women, because Serena and I had a conversation behind the scenes, when we have our chats on the phone. And, just wanted to, address the fact that it's an observation with her as well as with me that there's a lot of women that are right now, going through a lot of stuff, okay? And usually, there's a man or men that are involved in the picture. And it's usually a woman, and it's just, again, an observation just because I've lived as long as I've lived, and I've experienced this firsthand, that I've noticed that many women put up with stuff like that because self-esteem, feeling that they're not worthy, doing it on their own, feeling that they're not strong enough without, a male companion. They are not capable. We've been taught through society that it's necessary to be with a man, that is the norm. So therefore, even though you're paired up with a psychopath, it's better than to be alone. Even though you're paired with a pedophile, it's better than being alone. If you're paired up with an abuser or someone who's committing incest with your children, which I consider that it's another form of pedophilia, but it's worse, I think, even worse than that. But I don't know. But, why are women submitting to this? Why are women subservient to a male that is not being her divine complement? Why is that happening? Why are we in a state of fear that we can't step into our own divine authority, our own divine power? How is this planet going to become the full being that she is, if the divine feminine in us is being quashed by a force that is using the male gender to commit atrocities? How are we going to allow this? And when is it that we hear the clarion call that we actually step into our own divine power and authority as the divine feminine that we are? I wonder about that. And that's pretty scary to me, too. And you know what? I am not so much concerned. I am concerned about all these forces and that the dark forces that are behind the scenes controlling the controllers of this world. I'm more concerned with mankind, and that's M-A-N kind, not womankind, more mankind, because I think that the majority of the things that we see that are occurring on the planet are committed by the male gender. Why this is, we need to pay attention to why this is. So if the women are not stepping up because we're either afraid or believe the story that has been given to us that we are inferior, then this planet will not turn around, because with the energy that is given to these atrocities, and again committed by the majority being male gender, it's just an escalating negative situation, and it gets worse and worse as they gain more power. So I'm asking all of the women that are in the situations that are negative, where they're experiencing emotional pain, physical pain, or any type of hardship because of a situation where it's usually in a relationship situation. I'm asking you to find that inner strength within you, and find that inner power within you, and direct connection to the divine, and step into your authority and do something about it. And that could be just leaving that situation. That's what it could mean. I personally went through a very long marriage, 15 years, where I was personally emotionally abused for 15 years. And it took a lot of strength in my part, where I basically told myself that I was willing to let go of everything I had. And I lived in a very beautiful home, had the major car of the year. We basically drove a Lexus, and we had the kids, had the dogs, had the beautiful life, in the suburbs, and making the money, just wonderful life. But what happened behind the closed doors was a different issue. And me being who I am, which I've been this way since I was born, like most of us have been, my soul was dying. I was being shriveled to nothing, to a nothing, and I was being told verbally that I was a nothing. And it came a point in time where I had to make a choice. Am I going to let go of this beautiful life where I'm, keeping up with the Joneses and probably surpassing the Joneses, where I have this wonderful, facade of, being, accepted in society, but I'm miserable? Or do I let go of all of that and become myself, become everything I am meant to be and more? And so I had to make, a choice, and I came to the realization that I was willing to eat shit. Okay? I was willing to eat shit to get to the lowest point in my life so that I could bounce back up. And it was the worst divorce, in my opinion, for me personally. It was just horrible. It took 2 years. And I, it was a battle, which tore away the little bit left of any desire to live that I had from before. I hardly, had any more soul left, and so this even wore it down even further. But once I came out of it, I had no choice but to go up. I was at the lowest of my lows. So it takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage to do something like that. But you know what? Had I not done that, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I'm very thankful of the lessons that I learned by having to make that hard decision. It was an astronomical decision. It was a decision that was a burden on my shoulders and wearing me down. And but once I did it, that was it. It was it. I couldn't have gone any lower. That was basically it. So there is there is a sun on the other side of that door that's shut. When you open the door, there is sunshine. There are clouds. There is beautiful blue sky, believe it or not, and life is ahead of you. So, as wounded as you think that you could possibly be, I urge you to all get on that horse and ride. Don't get defeated by any situation, by any person, by any psychopath that is there to prevent you from growing, from blooming, from becoming everything that you can become. So, with that in mind, I also wanted to guide, let you know that I am here as I guess a reminder. I've lived through so many things and I've done so many things in my life that when I speak or I write in a blog, I am writing from not just my truth, but because I do, I have experienced so many things, it is a truth in whatever field I've been in. And, I'm not someone who will just speak because I need to speak. I do have something to say. And, if it serves you and it helps you, then, I am honored that I lived through whatever experiences I lived through to be able to enlighten someone else. So getting back to the idea, that, a lot of us don't put a lot of thought into another person's situation, because if it's happening in a different world, a part of the world like another country, if it's atrocities that we don't want to know about because it puts us in a bad place, or if we pay too much attention to dark forces, then we're bringing it into our reality. I have to say that. If a person in Ethiopia, a woman in Ethiopia or Somalia or wherever, is getting brutally raped and mutilated and killed, and children are, experiencing the same, for us to think that, we're cognizant of that, but we really don't want to pay too much attention because, again, first of all, there's nothing I can do about it, and then second, if I'm bringing it into the reality of the world, I'm allowing it to, manifest in the world if I pay too much attention to that. But the reality is that it matters, the fact that if we don't pay attention to these things, by not paying attention to it, number one, we're obviously giving a green light to those that are, committing these crimes and these atrocities. And the only way that we could do something about it is by knowing about them. And so, I always say it's not a responsible thing to do because it matters to those individuals suffering that. It matters to them. With me personally, for example, no one knows what I go through behind closed doors. When I'm not speaking for the radio show, for example, if I'm not speaking like I'm doing now, in between radio shows or in between blogging or in between commenting and whatever else I do, no one knows what I go through. No one knows what is happening with me, if I'm hurting, if I'm depressed, if I'm feeling sick, if I'm feeling down, if I feel like giving up. See, nobody knows the turmoil I go through. But because you don't know it, it doesn't mean it's not happening to me. Because you don't know about it doesn't mean it's not real, and it's not real to me. And so, again, the fact that, if a tree falls and it doesn't make, no one is there to hear it fall, did it really fall? Well, it's the same thing as I'm saying that if I fall, okay, and I get hurt, does anybody believe me, or does anybody say, well, that really didn't happen because I didn't experience it, but yet I still fell, I still got hurt, I still bled, and I still cried, so it's very real to me. So the fact that we're not paying attention, whether it's because we're so busy caught up in life, or because we're consciously not wanting to pay attention because we're trying to preserve ourselves from getting hurt also in the process, is an act of self-service. It's not an act of being in service to others. So are we here to be in self-service, or are we here to be in service to others? And if we're here to be in service to others, sometimes we have to stick our necks out. Sometimes we have to do things that make us uncomfortable. And I'll give you an example of what makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like getting on a show. Okay, I don't like having to speak in a radio format that is just so foreign to me. A lot of people tell me, oh, Ari, you do such a great job. Well, that's great. That is wonderful, but that is not what I like to do. I don't prefer doing that. I would rather just, be in my home, and if I have something to say, I would much rather write it down. Put it in a blog situation. But to get in a format where I'm actually putting my thoughts, and speaking them for others to hear and approve or disapprove or reject or accept is not my thing at all. Okay? I get enough, bad rap because people don't agree with a lot of things that I have to say because a lot of people are used to their way of thinking, and it works for them because most people tend to be happy that way. And regardless of whether it's being a service to themselves or not, they this is the way they've learned how to cope with things, and they can sit down and om all day long and chant and do their kumbaya song, which how much I love that, and smoke their peace pipe, and things are hunky-dory. But in reality, they're not hunky-dory. And so I have something to say about that. I have something to say about that, okay? Because if people are getting hurt, and things are still, atrocities are still committed against humanity and against all life. And the majority of us that are here to help, hopefully using up all our energies and our efforts, are, most of us, or a good majority of us, are being of self-service because it's good to be blissed out in thinking everything is hunky-dory, then I have something to say. Okay, I have something to say. And if you are in agreement with me with that idea, then I suggest you have something to say as well. I suggest that we get all empowered and do those things that unfortunately sometimes are uncomfortable for us to do. And it takes courage, and it's not about, getting the votes or becoming popular. Believe me, I don't think I'm popular. I could care less about being popular. I came here to do a job. I came here to raise a consciousness. And if you think it's about raising the consciousness of the masses, then you're wrong about that. I'm here to raise the consciousness of those that are here to raise the consciousness, which we're not sometimes doing a very good job at. We're not doing a good job at it because we're thinking we've gotten there. We're thinking that we're there already, that there's nothing else to attain, nothing else to achieve, that we are all-knowing already, that we've attained that, spiritual nirvana, whatever that may be for each individual, and it's different for everybody, but it's not working. It's not working because if it's working for you only in a little world, the little bubble that we could live in, and I'm not addressing anyone because obviously I don't know any of you personally. I'm just trying to get my thoughts out. If it's working for us individually in our little bubble, that's great. But then again, I'm saying that outside of that bubble, which that bubble exists within the world of the outer world, where everything else is manifesting, it's an illusion. It's an illusion within the illusion. We're not really addressing that which is affecting everyone else. And if we're the ones that are saying, "Oh, we're all one," if we're using that word and that terminology and that phraseology or whatever, if we're using that, then are we truly? If we're truly all one, then we should be acting as one and trying to correct the situation. And so that's what I'm trying to say. We need to be a little bit more engaged and responsible and. Enough already. Enough. We understand, gee, you know what? This feels good. Meditation feels good. Going to groups and attending lectures feel good. Fine. But then at the same time, you know what? Don't exclude the fact that we also need to be engaged in bringing forth the change that we want on the planet. And that takes in many different phases and many different, what am I trying to say? It looks differently is what I'm trying to say, and there's many different facets of it. So whether it's, being engaged in an orphanage or being engaged in, trying to stand in front of the Monsanto offices and picketing, whatever that looks like, even just getting, into a blog situation where you actually have your own blog page, whatever that looks like, but be engaged in something that everything that we all do together moves us forward, does not stagnate us in any way, allowing us to believe that everything is hunky-dory when it's not. And I certainly don't agree with a lot of people that, take certain people, that are making, names for themselves because they can. They could be, and again, that usually happens when you're the bearer of great news. Usually happens when you're just saying, "Oh, everything is fine, everything is going to be great. The economy is going to turn around because the brothers and sisters, the extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, have taken care of all the underground bases, and now all the mass arrests are going to happen, and any minute now we're going to be receiving the energies from a galactic center that is going to turn everything around," and and you can just fill in the blanks there. You just whatever you want, you know what I'm talking about. It's that kind of feel good. Everything is okay. It's under control, which is again, it's hypnosis. Is to keep us quiet, to keep us believing that everything is positive and nothing is really, wrong. And as we every day that passes that we don't do something, the dark forces are taking it upon themselves to do other things, to either take away our freedoms or to eradicate more of humanity. I think it's time that that we've realized that indeed, if we really paid attention, we could see right through the BS. We should be able to see right through the BS. And if you haven't been able to see right through the BS, then you're truly hypnotized. I mean, like truly hypnotized. I mean, you're a goner. I mean, completely. And so it is, as I am, able to say that, because that's what I'm going to say. It is what it is. So I think that's pretty much all I've got to say for today. Just be very, very aware of your feelings, of how you're feeling, because if you are feeling any of those symptoms, like I said, with the solar plexus, feeling depressed, feeling a little bit on the fear side, feeling kind of nauseous, feeling as if you've got some kind of stomach virus, but it's mostly affecting you emotionally, and mostly it's a feeling of disempowerment and giving up, then you're being compromised by these dark forces that are trying to wear you down to the point of you do nothing. And remember, it's not just the feeling in the solar plexus, it's also feeling, of thoughts that come into your head of doing nothing. And it's also those implants that are put in, not only in your head, but in those that you're looking up to for your information, that are saying everything's hunky-dory. That is also infiltrated information. Everything is not hunky-dory. It isn't. Okay? Ask the people that are suffering if it's hunky-dory. Ask them if it's hunky-dory. It's not. Okay, ask the women that are in relationships that are not loving, not respectful, that are, under the influence of psychopaths. Ask them if it's hunky-dory. Ask the children that are under, that are being used for sexual gratification from pedophiles. Ask them if it's hunky-dory. Okay, let's get honest about this. Okay, are we in service to ourselves so that we can feel good and think that we're going to ascend, or are we in service to others? I mean, what kind of individual would we be if we're thinking we're going to ascend when our fellow human beings and other life forms on the planet are suffering? What kind of an ascension are we going to have? Where are we ascending to? Or are we really descending? Or are we really not going anywhere? Is it just in our minds that we're doing all of this tripping out? We've got to grow up. This is not funny anymore. This is definitely not Disney World, by any means. And it's to me, it's actually a very bad ride. And, we all need to be on the same page, and I keep saying that again. We need to be on the same page, and the only way really to get there is to let go of all these phony belief systems that are acquired through not only religion, but even the belief systems that were created to address religion, to replace religion. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the New Age movement and all these other ramifications of the New Age movement. You can call them whatever you want to call them, from channeled material to anything else, to ascended master, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. If you're not already, by this point in time, connecting to Source, you're going to be probably receiving information that is corrupted information that's given on purpose to keep us quiet, to keep us appeased, to keep us in service to ourselves, so that we try to achieve our own ascension despite the fact that others are suffering. That is so just not of the light. That is so not of Christ consciousness that it's not even funny. And I don't know if you haven't figured that one out yet. And maybe it's time to sit down under a quiet tree and see if connecting to nature might inspire the correct thought process. And connection to source at that point as well. Anyway, yes, this is Ari Kopel again with Shattering the Matrix, going at it solo, very much out of my comfort zone, hoping that you all, well, I'm not even going to say hoping, I'm going to say challenging you all to get out of your comfort zone, okay, to get out of your seats, to do whatever it is that you can do so that we as a combined species liberate ourselves and the planet in general, in all life forms on the planet. It's the only way it's going to happen. It's the only way. I'm urging you with this challenge. Do something that is extraordinary. That can only be achieved through your divine self. And let's make a difference. Ari Kopel again with Shattering the Matrix. Seeing you every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Shattering the Matrix with your host, Ari Kopel. Please visit our website, 2012emergence.com. That's 2012emergence.com. Find us on Twitter at Matrix Shattered and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shattering the Matrix. Listen to archived shows at blogtalkradio.com/Shattering the Matrix. And join us next time for the birth of the new golden era on Shattering the Matrix.